we've had years and years of experience doing what I call getting into his head, or he gets into my
Yeah.
head, and we actually have sessions where we do that.
So that's the metacognitive coaching kind of thing.
It's a little bit deeper than just metacognitive coaching.
You know,
Oh, whoa.
you have to remove the assumption that we only talk to each other when we have a project. We talk about everything, right? So we also have we share private things as well. I have an issue with my daughter. I share it with her, and
Right.
I explain my thinking process. So if you've done that for a couple of years, you understand how the other person functions on a personal level, and that carries a lot. Then sometimes a sentence is enough. You can reference, oh, remember when that happened? Yeah, it's kind of like that.
The way I'm seeing it, it's two factors in particular. Number one, you both have known each other for a long time.
Yeah.
Number two, you both are experienced TCKs enough to be able to articulate what you're feeling and not really lose quality. So for an up and coming learner like me, how would you advise me to improve not losing that information like you guys are doing? What should I do?
You should
ahead.
learn the methodology. You need to understand the steps, and you need to have enough humility to trust that you have to go through the steps to get to the process. Because if you skip the steps, it's a different process. And one
Yeah.
of the steps requires time. We focus on speed, acceleration, change, and adaptability, but time is expandable, contractible, manipulatable, but you have
Unavoidable?
unavoidable, yes, but to be a master of maximizing time, you have to give time to gain time.
So you're saying that by following the steps as outlined, it would lead to the fastest and most accelerated rate,
I guess ironically, yes.
right?
Yes.
So
And
that's,
some of those steps actually are pretty darn slow. And it's really a lot of people try to cut short and
that's a
do
paradox, isn't it?
It is a
Yeah.
paradox, and you're absolutely right. When you think about it, every time somebody tries to cut something short and take the shortcut, it ends up being longer and slower. The learning just takes forever. But if you follow, then it's fast. It's the
Yeah.
fastest route.
The sad thing is, I'm almost an old guy now, and only now am I realizing all the former old people who told me life has no shortcuts. I start understanding what that means. There is no shortcut for experience. There's no shortcut for deep knowledge. Essentially, you can speed up things. You can speed up individual processes or experiences by just going for them and seeing what happens. But in the end, not one thing is going to make you good. It's the accumulation of a lot of things that start clicking after a while. You have this puzzle piece and that puzzle piece and that puzzle piece, and at a certain point in time, you'll start understanding what the picture is that you're building.
But that
And you can
requires time,
accelerate that.
no matter what.
Yeah, no matter what.
Well, don't make it sound like it's just the sage in the mountain going
No,
off
no, no, no.
on there's definitely an accelerated agenda, but there are things that do require time, and understanding how time works is very important too.
And sometimes not understanding what you're doing. I spoke to Rose about this quite recently. I said, remember, I'm not sure if you've seen the movie, I have to be careful, but Karate Kid, right? And there's this situation where the master makes him wax on and wax off, and he does it day after day after day, and he says, "This is stupid. Why am I doing this?" And while you're doing this, you don't even realize what it is that you're doing. But there will come a point in time where you figure out, oh, this was actually useful. And just thinking back at my life, I've done so many things that I hated doing and that I had to do because I was forced to do them. And each of these things today made sense in
Wow.
retrospect. Yeah. I learned something everywhere, regardless of how much I hated it. And I think very often these are important things. These are really important things.
You hate it was important, but you hated it. It was you
I
mentioned it was
hated it while I was
painful,
doing
it
it.
was
Right.
annoying at times, it was
Yeah.
discomforting.
And I was totally happy when it stopped. And it took me years to realize what actually happened there and what I learned. All these people around us that we observe and we go, wow, I want to be able to do that. And it looks so easy.
Mhm.
Well, yes, now. But the path they took to get there is usually a very long one, a very painful one. But they don't tell you that, of course. They never tell you that. But that's the secret to success in all things, I'm very sure.